Imagine a film crew followed you around for the next year. Every morning you wake up, every decision you make, every hour you kill scrolling on your phone, all of it on camera. Now, imagine your kids watch that footage in 20 years. What are they seeing? Are they seeing a man who built something, who chased something, who got up at 5 a.m. and went after his life like it actually mattered? Or are they seeing a guy in his 30s, sitting in his parents' basement, 3 hours deep into a video game, telling himself he'll start tomorrow? Because here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. You are already in a movie. It's being filmed right now. There's no crew, there's no camera, but every single second of your life is footage. And one day, someone is going to watch it back. Maybe your kids, maybe your future self, maybe nobody at all, which might be the saddest ending of them all. So let me ask you directly, if your life was a movie, would you watch it?
Most people wouldn't. And that's not an insult. That's just the truth. Most people are living as a background character in their own story. They show up, they take up space, the scene moves around them, and then it cuts to the next day, and the next, until 30 years are gone and nothing changed. I want to talk about why that happens, and more importantly, how you stop being an extra in your own life and become the lead. Let's start with the background character. You know this guy. Maybe you are this guy right now. He wakes up and hits snooze 4 times. He doesn't decide that. It just happens because deciding requires him to be present, and he's not present. He's asleep at the wheel of his own life. He rushes, he eats whatever's fastest, he goes to a job he complains about to people who don't care. He comes home and he collapses onto a couch and disappears into a screen until it's time to do it again. Nothing about that day was chosen. It happened to him. That's the definition of a background character. Things happen to them. They don't happen because of them. Now picture the lead. Different guy, same 24 hours. He wakes up before his alarm because his body knows there's a reason to get up. He doesn't scroll first thing because scrolling is what background characters do to avoid starting their own scene. He works out, not because he loves burpees at 6 a.m., but because he's decided that the man he's building doesn't skip the hard part. He goes and works on something that's his, something with his name on it, something that scares him a little because it might not work. He comes home and he's actually there with the people he loves, not just physically in the room while his mind is somewhere else. Same 24 hours, completely different movie. And here's what I need you to understand. The lead isn't the lead because he has more talent than you or more luck or a better starting position. He's the lead because at some point, he decided to write the script instead of waiting for someone to hand him a role. That's the whole thing. That's the entire difference between the 2 men I just described. One of them is being written. The other one is writing. So how do you actually become the lead? Not in theory, practically, today. Step 1, you write down what you actually want. Not what sounds impressive, not what your parents wanted, not what looks good at a party. What you actually want. Write it down, on paper, somewhere real. Because here's the uncomfortable part. Most people have never done this. They've never sat down and forced themselves to name the life they want in specific terms. They just have a vague, foggy feeling of, I should probably be doing more. And a foggy feeling never built anything. You cannot direct a movie you haven't written. What does the lead version of you actually do all day? Where does he live? What does he build? Get specific enough that you'd recognize him if he walked into the room. Step 2, you stop auditioning for a role you don't want. This is the part people get wrong constantly. They spend years perfecting a character they never even chose. They get really good at being the guy who complains about his job instead of leaving it. They get really good at being the guy who almost started the business. They get really good at being reliable in every area of life except the one that actually matters to them. If a film crew followed you this week and someone watched it back, would they be able to guess what you actually want out of life? Or would the footage just show a man going through motions that don't lead anywhere? Be honest. That's not a rhetorical question you get to skip. Step 3, and this is the one people hate the most. You have to be willing to look bad for a while. Every lead character has an Act 1 where they're not good yet. The athlete gets knocked down. The founder gets rejected. The guy trying to fix his health has a bad first month at the gym where he's the slowest, weakest person there. Nobody skips that part. Nobody. But here's what separates the lead from the background character in that moment. The lead stays in the scene. The background character walks off set the first time it gets uncomfortable, and he tells himself a very comforting lie on the way out, that this probably wasn't for him anyway. I've watched people do this over and over. They start something, it gets hard exactly on schedule, and they read the difficulty as a sign to quit, instead of a sign they're finally doing something real. Easy things don't need a movie. Nobody's kids grow up in awe the year their dad did absolutely nothing risky.
Step 4. Stop performing for an audience that isn't watching. A lot of people who want to change their life get stuck because they're scared of what others will think if they try and fail publicly. So they never try publicly. They keep the goals small and quiet, just in case it doesn't work out and they need to pretend they never wanted it. Here's the truth. Almost nobody is watching you as closely as you think. Everyone is too busy worrying about their own movie to critique yours. The only people who watch your footage back with real attention years from now are you and maybe your kids. So stop directing your life around strangers who forgot about you by lunchtime and start directing it for the 2 people who actually remember. Now let's go back to where we started. The film crew. Your kids 20 years from now watching the footage of who you were. Sit with this one. Don't just let it wash over you. Picture your kid, at whatever age feels real, watching a year of your life back. Watching how you spent your mornings. Watching whether you chased the thing you said you wanted or just talked about it for years. What does that footage look like right now, today? If the honest answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is data. It's the gap between the man you are and the man you keep telling yourself you'll become eventually. Eventually is not a plan. Eventually is the background character's favorite word because it lets him feel like he's still in the running without ever starting the scene. So here's the assignment, and I mean this literally, not as a metaphor. Write down what you actually want. Today. Not this weekend when you have more time, because you won't magically have more time this weekend. You'll have the exact same 24 hours you have right now. Write it down, specific and real. And then do one thing today that the lead character would do and the background character wouldn't. One thing. That's it. That's how the movie starts. Not with a dramatic overhaul of your entire life in a single afternoon, but with one scene, filmed today, where you actually showed up as the main character, instead of an extra standing in the back, out of focus, waiting for someone else's story to move forward. Because the camera's already rolling. It's been rolling your whole life. The only question that actually matters is whether you're finally ready to act like the lead.